had 5 observations from the Washington Commanders' blowout loss to the Patriots in preseason. They did not look prepared for this game at all. The effort wasn't there. They were getting pushed around by the Patriots. Some things are positive, but there's a lot of negatives as well. Let's talk about it. I'm Josh Taylor with A to Z Sports Commanders, and last night was the first game of the season. I was ready to see some rust knocked off, and it looked like there was a lot more rust than I thought. Now, Washington did sit 30 players, so my expectations were pretty low going into the game, but I wanted to see some fight. I wanted to see some energy. I wanted it to seem like this was the first game, like they were ready to hit somebody else for the first time outside of the joint practice, of course, but I didn't see that. But the first thing I noticed was special teams is going to be another concern this season. Matt Gay chipped one in from 37, which is great. That's expected for the veteran, but he missed from 49. If you look at the last 2 seasons, he was 11 for 22 and 50-plus yard field goals, and 49 is right outside that range. So that's kind of going with that negative trend that I've seen. And he started out great in training camp, but the last few practices he's been missing a ton. So maybe Washington brings in some competition. I know they gave him the largest guaranteed 1-year contract for a kicker, but still, you got to protect yourself. You can't go into the season like you did last year. But then also, one of the better special team tackling units in the entire league. The effort wasn't there. I don't know what I saw. The opening kickoff goes for a touchdown, and then they have 2 more big returns. That just did not look like the special teams unit that I'm used to. And a lot of those guys are guys who are going to be back there week 1 on special teams. The second thing I noticed was the rookies. There were some standouts. This is what I wanted to see. Every single rookie played in their first NFL game last night, and we didn't get to see much Jayden Lane. I'm not sure why he wasn't used much in the offense. He had a couple punt returns. He looked comfortable back there. That's cool. But Josh Connolly Jr. at right tackle looked comfortable. He was moving out in space. There was a screen where he kicked out to the right. I just love seeing that from him. Then Trey Amos was locked down on a couple plays. Drake May threw a slot fade to Mac Hollins in the end zone, and Trey Amos was all over it. And he even had a really nice run stop at the line of scrimmage on the outside in space. So Trey Amos passed all the vibes checks for me. And of course, Jacory Cross-Merritt was the star of the show. Bill has been the hype of training camp, and I was ready to see him take off in preseason. And he had a lot of nice runs. And the one thing that really surprised me with Bill was his physicality. As a smaller running back who's known for his speed and finesse, I was surprised to see him fight for those extra yards and push the backup offensive lineman out the way and try to fight for first downs, which he did. And he even had a couple nice catches as well. But then there was also 2 second-year players that I had to talk about. Ben Sinnott, the tight end, had a couple nice catches, and he was also open for a lot more. But Sam Hartman really couldn't get the passing game going when he was out there. But like I said, he did show off some good catches, some strong hands. And maybe they can use him more in the receiving game this year and not just an option to pull across the line or go out in space and run guys over as he's blocking in the running game. But then also Jayden Newton, Johnny, the strip sack on Drake May. I had to mention it. It was a beautiful play against the starting quarterback and the starting offensive line for the Patriots. Will Campbell was out there, the rookie. They were ready to go. So seeing Jayden Newton, even though it wasn't the entire starting defensive line, seeing him out there getting a big play like that showed me everything I wanted to see in a second-year breakout for Newton. But the depth at wide receiver. Nobody separated themselves last night. No pun intended. I wanted somebody in that wide receiver room with Terry McLaurin out, with Deebo Samuel out, with Noah Brown out. Somebody had to step up and say, hey guys, I'm going to be that next depth piece. And nobody did it. Now, Luke McCaffrey was sick, so he was battling an illness, according to Dan Quinn after the game, so he just didn't play much. And like I said, Jayden Lane, I'm not sure why we didn't get to see him. Maybe they want to preserve him a little bit more. But KJ Osborne had a lot of drops, had a lot of missed opportunities. I mean, Sam Hartman wasn't good last night either. But Chris Moore had 2 big drops. Michael Gallup, once again, just maybe he would get better looks with the starters, but no one really stood out to me with the route running, with catching ability after the catch, nothing. I mean, there was a lot of missed opportunities left on the field last night, and if you were worried about the depth at wide receiver, last night did not help at all. But overall, this team just looked like they were ready to get back home. I was surprised a Dan Quinn team, even with 30 players sitting, even with all the depth guys that played, I was surprised to see this team that just had no motivation. They were getting pushed around. Now, Jeremy Reeves did have that one crazy hit. That was a soft penalty, by the way. But that was really the only play of the game that really stood out to me from an energy standpoint. From a standpoint where it's just like, we are going to be the more dominant team. We're going to be the physical team. Washington got pushed around in the trenches. They were getting run over in the secondary. The depth is a real concern for me, but also the motivation, the energy. Where was that last night? Like, I know this is the first game. Like, you're getting ready, that you're all backups. You don't really know what to expect. You're a little nervous, maybe, but still. This was not the Washington Commanders team I saw last year that was motivated and stuff. So Dan Quinn, I feel sorry for the players in practice this week, but I know he's going to get those guys going for the next game. And luckily, we have 2 more preseason games, and we should see more starters against the Bengals next week. But I'm keeping a close eye on these observations from the first game.